Hi, I'm Chuck McLennan on vacation here in the beautiful Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I'm in the town of Marquette, where there's plenty of good fishing. This is Lake Superior, the largest and deepest freshwater lake in the world. The area is serene and scenic, perfect for a hard-working person to relax. I'll be heading back to work tomorrow, so I need to get cleaned up and hit the highway. On the way back home, I'll be stopping by Orion Assembly in Lake Orion, Michigan. I want to talk to wind noise and water leak experts about some of the diagnostic methods they use on their vehicles. So, I'll see you on the road. Isn't this a beautiful view? You can see the ferry boats going back and forth to Mackinac Island. I'm not sure if you can tell how windy it is going across the bridge, but there's quite a crosswind. The grates in the left-hand lane help the air flow around this massive structure. Much like this car, the air is flowing around it, not through it, making wind noise practically unnoticeable. I'm expected at Orion Assembly in about 4 hours, so I better get going. See you back home. On my way back from the Upper Peninsula, I talked with wind noise and water leak experts at Orion Assembly about what diagnostic procedures they use when testing cars. They discussed the importance of localized and generalized water leak testing. Remember that generalized water leak testing saturates the vehicle, allowing you to identify general leak areas. Localized testing allows you to pinpoint the leak area. Wind noise and water leak experts use simple tools such as powder, a bottle of soap, and a mechanic stethoscope to identify potential leak areas. However, there are two other tools used when diagnosing wind noise and water leaks: a smoke machine and an ultrasonic leak detector. Let's take a look at the smoke machine first. A smoke machine allows you to identify leak areas. The machine should be plugged in, turned on, and warmed up for at least 5 minutes prior to use. A light will illuminate when the machine is ready. Have a towel or plastic cover on the seat and place the machine in the rear passenger compartment of the vehicle. All windows and vents need to be closed. Turn the ignition switch to the on position and turn the fan on a moderate speed. This circulates the air in the passenger compartment. Press the start button and shut the door. Wait a few minutes to see the smoke seeping from the leak areas. Okay, notice where the smoke is coming out. Conduct localized water tests in these areas to get an accurate measurement as to how large the leak area may be. Do a visual inspection to determine if it is a pinhole or sealer skip. Now, let's raise the car on the hoist. Notice how smoke is coming from the drain hose hole. There should be a plug here. I'll correct that right away by inserting one. Okay, now I don't see any other leaks, but you may want to check the shift cable grommet and the rocker panels. I want to point out that a smoke machine isn't required to identify leak areas, but generalized water testing works just as well. Now, let's demonstrate the ultrasonic leak detector on Riviera. The ultrasonic leak detector allows you to find pinholes and sealer skips by using this highly sensitive microphone and transmitter. Let me show you how it works. Place the transmitter on the front seat of the vehicle and shut the door. Put the headphones on and begin in an area where you suspect a leak. Okay, I found a leak here. High-pitched beeps are heard through the headphones when a potential leak area has been found. The sensitivity lights also flash. Watch the detector. When I move the microphone near the leak area, the sensitivity lights flash and beeps can be heard. Try running this test over the suspected leak areas. Follow up this test with a localized water hose test just to verify the leak area. For those of you without access to an ultrasonic leak detector, a mechanic's stethoscope or even a piece of rubber hose is a surefire method for diagnosing wind noise. I've identified some leak areas for you using two new testing methods. Try using these as well as standard noise and leak methods when diagnosing suspected areas. I'm going to check a few more areas on the cars. Okay, I've pinpointed a few other leaks on the vehicle by conducting localized tests. Let me show you what I did. To identify a water leak in the door area, check on and around the door glass and the door itself using a localized test. Conduct a localized test on the door window frame, the weather strip to the roof, and the B-pillar. I happened to find a weather strip gap to the roof. How would you find the gap? Well, first examine the door window frame to make sure it isn't too far outboard. It looks okay. If the door window frame were in too far, you would see increased door closing effort. Next, take a look at the passenger side door. Make sure the door opening weather strip is seated. Okay, no problem there. Then check the door weather strip and retainer sealer. That looks okay too. Try the door outside weather strip, making sure it's contacting the roof. Also, check that the B-pillar is flush. And I notice there's a concern in both areas. Now we can fix these concerns by bending the door window frame so the door outside weather strip contacts the roof and the B-pillar is flush. If you suspect a leak on or around the door glass, check the run channel weather strip and the penetration of the glass to the weather strip. We have on occasion found a leak area along the run channel weather strip. Notice how the weather strip around the window run channel near the mirror is seated to the door. If the weather strip is not seated, this may be due to improper installation. If this is the case, simply reseat the weather strip. There may also be other leak areas that can be identified using generalized leak testing and visual inspection. For example, the door opening weather strip flange may be distorted. Examine the entire flange where it's welded to the vehicle body. If you happen to encounter a vehicle with a distorted flange, straighten it using a rubber mallet. Sometimes a kink may occur due to an air release hole in the upper rear corner. This could create a wind noise or water leak. You'll want to remove and reposition the weather strip so the hole isn't in the corner. Then make sure the weather strip is properly seated. One more concern in the door area is on the door itself. If you notice, under the lip is thumb grade sealer. This sealer is located on the front and rear of each door. Use the tip of your index finger to examine the area. Sometimes the thumb grade sealer may be missing. If you find this to be the case on Park Avenue or Riviera, apply more sealer. Now that I've taken you through some of the specific door area concerns, let's take a look at some other areas. For example, if a customer comments about engine noise and/or wind noise at the A-pillar, one area to examine is at the base of the A-pillar. To gain access, remove the inner wheel panel under the wheel well and inject expandable sealer in the inner fender area to correct this condition. Wind noise may also be audible due to sealer skips or pinholes. To seal the base of the A-pillar, take off the A-pillar garnish. and visually examine the front lower sealer. If you find skips or pinholes, fill them in with sealer. Now, since I'm in the A-pillar area, let's take a look at another possible concern. You may find a possible seal or skip in the roof sealer by the windshield. This same concern may also apply to the rear glass. This concern could create a water leak and can be repaired by applying more sealer. In the same general area, you may find water leaks at the roof ditch. A roof ditch leak could be created by one of four things: a roof sealer skip, a void in the roof tape, missing or stripped roof ditch molding attachment studs, or a drain tube through the urethane, which is only on the Riviera. You'll want to conduct a localized water test and examine the seams, tape, and around the studs. Another possible concern could be due to moisture gathering in the lamp area. You may find sealer skips where the lens and housing are joined. This misinterpreted water leak may simply be condensation. The lamp area may not be venting or drying thoroughly. Vehicles assembled after April of this year shouldn't have this condition, as a new venting system was installed in March. The manufacturing process to eliminate potential leaks was improved in May. If you happen to see this concern, reseal the area. Okay, let's discuss some possible leaks in the trunk area. If you find a water leak in the trunk area, check the weather strip and gutters. If you find a leak in the weather strip, check the deck lid felt. Look for excess sealer under the weather strip, flange distortion, pinholes, unseated weather strip, or insufficient sealer inside the weather strip. For a gutter leak, check for pinholes, tape position, or missing sealer. Now, let's take a look at some possible concern areas. The interior trim on the deck lid may contact the weather strip, creating a water leak. Make sure the panel and weather strip are not contacting. If they are, trim the felt on the deck lid. Pinholes or gaps in the tape may cause a water leak at the flange and under the weather strip. You'll want to fill in any holes or gaps with clear sealer. If you pulled up the weather strip to examine for pinholes underneath, make sure to seat it back on the flange. In fact, examine the circumference of the trunk weather strip to make sure it is seated. If you look under the carpet, you will see a series of floor plates. Here are 4 in the spare tire compartment. There are more at the front of the vehicle, but you need to pull up the carpet of the entire vehicle to see them. Now, one of these plates may be missing, causing a wet floor or road noise to be evident. If a plate is missing, insert another, cover it with a patch, then seal the area. Another possible leak may be due to an unseated grommet behind the tail lamp. A leak here could also be due to excess sealer or a distorted hole for the wiring harness pass-through. Now, you may need to either seat or install the grommet or reseal the area. On a final note in the tail lamp area, customers may point out the tail lamp looks cloudy, as if water has gotten into the lens. Closely examine the area and complete a localized water test to ensure it isn't a leak. What you may want to look for is microcrazing. The black paint utilized on the inside of the tail lamp looks like it's spider webbing or cracking, giving the illusion of water. This is microcrazing. This isn't noticeable to the naked eye, so you need to carefully examine the area. Replace the lamp if this condition is found. Wind noise and water leak concerns are sometimes equally difficult to diagnose on Riviera. Just as I did on Park Avenue, make sure to pinpoint the area of the noise or leak. You can use the test methods listed in Section 1 of this program's manual if desired. I've already conducted noise and leak tests on this Riviera, so let's review some of them. The door area on the Riviera is unique due to the frameless window. You may discover that wind noise and water leak concerns in this area are generally due to this unique window system. For example, one area to check at the door is at the base of the window at the belt line. Muckets at the ends of the inside feather edge may not be entirely wrapped around the glass, creating a wind noise. Make sure the flange is wrapped around the glass to correct this condition. Another possible wind noise and even water leak at the door area may be due to one of 3 things: retainer position, weather strip installation, or glass position. For example, retainer position may not allow the weather strip to seat the glass. Simply reposition the retainer outboard, making sure the retainer is positioning the weather strip correctly and the weather strip is contacting the glass. Butyl patches on the door opening weather strip at the bottom of the retainers may not be seated to the metal. Visually examine the area, making sure the patches are seated correctly. These look good. You may also encounter a vehicle with a gapped drip rail. The owner of the vehicle may complain of wind noise and water leaks. Simply reposition the drip rail to close the gap to the roof to correct this concern. Now, above the doors, you may see a water leak concern at the roof ditch. Remember, the roof ditch needs to be examined on both Park Avenue and Riviera. The Riviera's drain tube, sometimes referred to as the roof ditch tube, shouldn't extend through the windshield or rear glass urethane, or it may cause a water leak. As you can see, this particular vehicle doesn't have this concern. Now, other areas you may need to examine on the Riviera include the windshield and rear glass for urethane voids, the roof sealer around the circumference of the roof panel, and the roof hold-down screws which may be missing or stripped. Oh, and make sure to take note of the two-part urethane write-up in this program's manual. Another possible leak area is located near the corner of the sail panel. The rear corner sail to the trunk area may be missing sealer. Examine the quarter ditch seal. You may see a hole. The best correction is to fill it with sealer. I want to show you some possible leaks in the trunk area. To pinpoint leaks in this area, refer to Section 2 in the trunk area subsection for steps on diagnosing these leaks. Okay, one area that may experience water leaks is the hinge. There may be missing tape or sealer skips. Correct this condition by resealing the area with clear sealer. The trunk gutter area may also experience water leaks. Examine the area for sealer skips in the vertical portion of the gutter. You should be able to see them. Apply sealer to correct the water leak. You may also want to test the tail lamp area with a water hose. You may find sealer skips in the horizontal seal behind the tail lamp lens. To examine this area, you'll need to remove the tail lamp assembly. First, remove the cargo net and screws from the carpeted area. Also, remove the screws from the sill plate and pull it off. Next, pull back the carpet behind the tail lamp assembly. You'll need to remove the screws from this area as well. Once you remove the screws and are sure all other fasteners have been removed, pull the assembly out. This is where you may find the sealer skips. If you find any, apply more sealer. When installing the assembly, make sure the grommet is seated properly. If it's not seated, a second water leak may result. Concerns that may be seen on both Park Avenue and Riviera may include door thumb grade sealer, trunk gutter, trunk floor plates, HVAC evaporator core drain tube, shift cable grommet, sunroof opening, sunroof drain hose pass-through, drain hose, and roof ditch. These concerns are discussed in detail for each vehicle in Section 4 of this program's manual. I want to use the Park Avenue to give an idea of what concerns may be found, but remember, the concerns are applicable to Riviera as well. There may be a wind noise from the shift cable grommet. Examine the area to ensure it's properly installed. The front of the molded handle in the grommet should be aligned vertically. If I move over a bit, I notice the HVAC evaporator core drain tube isn't seated correctly. Make sure the tube is seated, eliminating the potential for water leaks. The diagnostic methods used on these vehicles have assisted plant personnel in improving wind noise and water leak concerns. According to J.D. Power, wind noise and water leak concerns have decreased over the last model year. On Park Avenue, added door window frame weather strip on the rear door has eliminated such concerns. And as this video is being taped, seal tape is being installed at the rear glass and windshield at all four corners, also reducing the potential for water leaks. Park Avenue has also had sealer added to the lower A-pillar to eliminate wind noise. Riviera has seen the most significant decrease in water leaks, and wind noise concerns have steadily decreased since 1995. For example, seal tape has been added around the hinge and quarter gutter seam in the trunk. Additional spot welds and repositioned welds closed the gaps sometimes found at the back of the tail lamps. And a leak in the quarter ditch seal was deleted by adding sealer. The concerns I mentioned were eliminated through wind noise and water leak testing. Remember, proper diagnosis is important when pinpointing the origin of a noise or leak. Well, thanks for joining me on my vacation. This is Chuck McLennan. See you next month on Buick Know-How.